I set the distillery up really to bring two things I loved together, the Cotswolds and whiskey. I spent 30 years in the city, first working in New York and then in Paris and then in London for a currency trading investment firm. And I was their European marketing guy. That took me from New York to Paris. It was in 2000 that I got invited to a meeting of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society in Paris, and that's what got me into whiskey. And I started doing yearly trips up to Scotland, and that's how I started understanding not only how special the product was, but also the place. And then I moved from Paris to London. The idea came to me when I was looking out the window of a little farmhouse that my wife and I bought as a weekend place, a couple miles away from where we are now. And I saw a big field of spring barley blowing in the breeze, and this thought came to me, which was, with all the barley that grows down here, why doesn't anyone ever make any whiskey? I had been quite into whiskey for 10 plus years, and I thought that the romance that I saw and sort of felt in Scotland existed in spades here in the Cotswolds in a very different way. And we don't have the high mountains and the cliffs and the rocks and the crashing surf. We have this kind of really beautiful, gentle landscape. It's almost like an impressionist painting. Well, we were really lucky in that we had two Scots who between them had probably near 100 years of whiskey making experience and who were really legends in the business. Harry Coburn, a former general manager of Bowmore on Islay. But the other person who was just as important was Jim Swan. Jim was absolutely instrumental in all the processes that we sort of go through to make the whiskey, and most importantly probably in understanding the impact that wood has on whiskey and on finding great casks. We had always planned on making other things besides whiskey. So we started making gin, and we expected the gin was mainly to be sold in our shop and maybe a few weekend fairs. And then we ended up getting listed in Fortnum and Mason 2 weeks after the first drop came off the still. It did change the way the company developed, really. And we realized you could make a gin with all the values that we put into our whiskey. We are really looking forward to our whiskey getting out there more. We will be coming out with a new whiskey release every 6 months for the next 18 months. I'm also looking forward to seeing just how big this wonderful gin of ours can go.